So hi, I'm Berlin Williams. I am 20 years old. I'm 27. I grew up in Elsie's River. Uh, been here all my life, which is both a blessing and a curse. Um, I have one sister. She's three years younger than I am, but she likes to think that she's the oldest. So there's already that problem. I went to Elsie's High, which I used to fight my mom about all the time because at the time I wanted to go to an art school and I was like, I want to go to an art high school. I don't care. And I think I had the best time at LCSI. So it wasn't what I wanted for myself, but I think also the universe kind of just provided within that sense. Because my high school years, which was at LCSI and I graduated 2013, was definitely where I think I, I fully encapsulated my queerness, and that's where it started, and that's kind of how like I just told myself like I really want to take dancing seriously because funny enough like my high school year like my matric year was when I took over the high school jam, which is like this big project that happens every year at LCSI, and I choreographed the entire thing, and then after that like just stuck and I ended up doing that.
Okay, so that basically answers my next question. I was gonna ask you, why did you go into the arts and culture route and not academic?
Okay, I mean I can also elaborate on
Yeah.
that a bit more. um, have you guys ever had that feeling where you know you're meant to be doing a certain thing, and even though the universe and everyone around you keeps nodding you into a specific direction, the gut feeling is I'm not happy if I'm not doing this. And that is what performance felt like for me. It was like I understand that there's struggles, especially growing up colored in our communities. It's like there's not a lot of people who do this, so our people don't have an understanding of who to look at. So to them it's like if you aren't Beyonce, you're not successful. And it's like we are successful in our own right. It's like so ultimately it was the fact that I knew I wanted to do this, but also I wanted to prove everyone wrong. I'm sorry, but like I was that kid where I was like, if you are telling me no, I'm gonna tell you yes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's a beautiful answer, Berlin. And then, what is your goals that you would like to achieve within your career or within the community, like you spoke before? Do you have any goals set out that you can maybe elaborate with us?
Yo. Uh, so one of the big things I think I always had planned for myself was to kind of have my own studio, and that wasn't really too far off. But COVID hit, and as we know, that kind of shifted things for everyone. Um, I was in Europe for most of 2019. I was working with an artist. I was choreographing the show, and then we came back. Was in Cape Town, like back home for like maybe like 3 4 months, and then I had some work lined up, like a lot of work lined up with Artscape and all of that thing. So that was like I was looking forward to that, and then boom, that kind of just happened. So the last 3 years or 2 years was just like trying to like now unpack, and obviously a lot of and this is the thing that I didn't think about was that I'm actually gonna have to now shift everything, and it wasn't just like, oh, I wasn't working for a year or two. It was like I need to shift everything because what happens if this happens again, something of the sort, and I have no backup plan. I don't have this, I don't have that. um, Luckily I was fortunate enough to have signed contracts already, which meant that legally I must now get some money. So that is how I lived off of this whole pandemic. But again, goals for the future, own studio with a house as well. Like what we want to do is create our own little company where we manage people and we manage ourselves, which is what we're already doing. But also just making sure that that bullshit never happens to me again, because that was tough. I'm not even gonna lie.
But you grow a lot on your social platform. But yeah, you mentioned that you discover your queerness in high school already. So I'm sure you have a definite definition of what pride means to you.
Yeah.
Could you maybe just give our uneducated audience an idea of what it means to you, or what does pride means in general?
So here's a little secret, guys. I the very first time I ever went to any queer space, it was my last matric year. Um, so I had already known who I was at that point. It was just a matter of I must be comfortable enough to make people understand that A, you're either going to accept me, or B, you don't have me. And not that I'm trying to rub my own shoulder, but I think I am such a loving and giving person that for you to accept anything other than wanting me, like genuinely me, is wild. Um, and that is truly how I also walked around with my queerness at school. I was like, you can have me. You- There is a fully programmed human being who loves, who understands, who's kind, who's patient. You can have that, or you just cannot. And I think because I had that attitude, people gravitated towards. Well, you know what? You're not giving us an option, so we will take this. But yeah, like I made so many, like all of my friends who are prominent on my social media as well. Chanel, Zika, all of the dolls, we met because of high school, because we all went to the same school. And there was this running joke that everyone used to love saying was, they are gay because of me. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But thank you that there is some form of acknowledgement I don't want to say open doors for
Played a
people,
role.
but yes, like I got to play a role in how people either A, got to move more comfortably within their queerness, or B, just got to see that there's more than this and that, and then I got to be that figure. So I'm like, I love when people tell me that. It's like, because I understand that me growing up, I didn't have that. So if there was any positive thing that I could plant into someone's life, and it's that, like honestly, that's the biggest takeaway for me. It's like I feel like I made life a little easier for someone. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, brother. So Pride Month is coming. Where can people find you in the month of February and March?
Ooh. So as the house, we are finally doing so much work. Like people are contacting us, like emailing
Yeah.
us, wanting to do things. And obviously, when you're starting up, I'd like to say that do things for exposure. Do things where you understand, like I must get this from that, and if I work with this person, I can get this from that, and vice versa. But guys, when you are established, and our house has been coming on for like a good years, we've been an official house since 2017. Ultimately, people must respect that I'm an artist, and that is what we are trying to do with the house. Is like we want to work with you, and we love to share stories about queerness, about ballroom, but pay us, man. Like pay not just because you're seeing my face on TV, but because these are lived stories. These are lived experiences that people have lived, and for us to be able to tell them comfortably, I must also have
Some peace
been
of
able.
mind.
Yeah, exactly. So the house is especially now in Pride. We're doing a lot of stuff. We're doing like there's this big wedding that we're doing, which is exciting. And a lot of queer projects.
Sorry, is it someone from the LGBTQ that's getting married, or
Um,
is it just?
so funny. Even like these people are more allies than anything else. Like the husband, more so than the wife, is obsessed with ballroom culture, and he is from London. So they wanted to come to South Africa, and they wanted to just find queer people. And obviously, the House of Le Cap was like probably at the top of the list of like ballroom people in Cape Town. And then that's how we got in contact, and they were like they would love to have us, giving us free range, free creative range, do whatever we want to. They just want us to perform, and that is something that I love when artists or companies want to work with the house, and in their mind it's like we understand that you are creative beings, so please, we don't want to take what you do
Yeah.
and make it something else. Do everything you do and just come and do that. So yeah, the house is doing a lot of stuff. We and myself included will unfortunately not be here for the Pride Mardi Gras because we are actually doing something as a house from the 3rd until the 5th. We're going to be at Bazik. So the Bazik Festival, we will be performing there this year as well, which is going to be amazing. But this is also my first year missing Pride, and I am gonna be a bit sad about it. Because Chanel, our resident trans icon, she is taking part in Mr. and Miss Western Cape. So now, I also don't think that she knows if she wins, which by the way, she's gonna win. If she wins, she's gonna have to be at
Yes.
Pride. So I'm like, baby doll, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna have to figure
Are
that
you
out.
referring to the pageant next week?
The pageant, yes.
Okay.
So if she wins at, or even if she places at the pageant, like, and she's gonna be expected to be at the Mardi Gras. I don't know if she thought that over, but she's very excited for Bazik, and I'm just like,
We got paid
baby,
event.
baby, yeah,
And the march? Are you referring to the march?
yeah, the Pride Mardi Gras within itself. So that's happening this Saturday. When we're not gonna be here, there's gonna be a ball being hosted as well. It's gonna be hosted by Cheshire Vineyard, which is mother of the House of Vineyard Cape Town edition. So they're going to be hosting the ball. We might even not be here for that specific day of the ball, which I must say does feel weird to say that, but I'm also not hesitant to say it because I want the ballroom scene to get to a point where, and no shade to anybody, but I want the ballroom scene to get to a point where ballroom can exist outside of House of Lakab. Because I don't want us to be the only house forever and be the only people coming to the balls, walking, vote for mode, or doing this. Because there are classes. We have people, we have classes. Like, we have genuine classes. We post about it as much as we possibly can. So that, like I think I said to you guys before we started, was the point of ballroom is to share community and to share something so that queer people can understand that all these experiences that we go through, it's uniquely yours, but many of us have gone through it. And if we can make things better for one another growing up, if we can be a community, a family, a house, that is what ballroom is. So, yeah.
Once again, thank you for that answer. Since we're on this topic, is there any experience you can share with us, before or now recent, of maybe prejudice, behavior towards you because of your sexual preferences, whether it be family or professionally on the stage, maybe just to help dancers out there or people within the queer community know that this is going to happen and you're going to get up. Is there any personal stories you can share or experiences?
So,
Or advice on how to
Yeah,
overcome it. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I always like truly focus on when it comes to like queerness and like being myself. I don't like the word being out like loud and proud, because I'm like, what about my life is so different that I must constantly tell straight people this is who I am. I feel like we are constantly made to have a hat on and be like, I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, no. Like, whatever you assume of me, you do that. And I think that has served me so good, because I've also not let my queerness be the crutch of who I am as a person. And when I step into an audition, when I step into anywhere, if I'm wearing a crop top, whether I'm serving mass today and whether I'm serving female or whether I'm just in between, people constantly have expectations, and the best thing that I've done is not let that expectations dictate what I'm going to do when I'm dancing, or what I'm going to do when I'm stepping into a meeting. So to any queer person out there, find who you are, really hone into that, and once you get to do that, make sure that you speak and do everything with conviction. Because if you do not believe who you are, no one else is going to believe that. No one, I'm telling you, no one is going to believe what you are selling. And I had an experience from a family member where we talked, it was like very cordial, it was casual, like when we see each other we'd be like hello, blah blah blah, etc etc. And this one day I did something with sportsing, which to me was like, it was a really big deal. Like seeing 4 queer people of color, trans women, I felt so lucky to share that experience with them, and also for us to bring ballroom into that, it was a major thing. And my family member was like, oh, like this is so cool. And ons mos nou awesome mense. And it's like, I was gonna take his curry, like so come buy take his curry. And I was like, out of everything you could tell me, congratulations to start with. You did not do that. You acknowledged the fact that you are aligned with the person on the picture because we are family. But you don't even talk to me like that. I've never seen you at a show. I've never seen you at any of those things. And the reason I'm bringing this specific scenario up is because I feel like constantly there's a thing where the queer kid kind of gets ostracized within their family, and you are not spoken of until you become successful,
Yes.
until you show us you have reached this level, and now ons kan van Berlin does this, Berlin does that, and it's like stop doing that. I tell my family also, I'm like, you have seen me struggle through the hard times, you've seen me be up there in the times when it was good. My family is like, I think I'm lucky enough to have my family there constantly. But I know that for many people, many people, they don't have that. And that is a big thing that I think I love to teach people that come into my space and come into my circle, that I get to have interactions with. It's like, people are going to use you as a token because people understand that right now, queerness is now lekker, is now fun. The ballroom scene is now popping, is now. So always be aware that whatever you put out into the universe, you do with love, so that you can also understand when someone comes to you with energy, you can read whether it's genuine or whether it's not. So ultimately, I guess that's two pieces of advice there. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be unpacked within the queer community, but we must also start having those like tough conversations, man. And the problem is we don't have communities and spaces to do that safely just yet. But there are people. I know there's a lot of people like gender dynamics, people like the trans clinics, like people who literally just put in extra help and extra hands. Like even Ivan Tom's clinic, like we did some things with him back in the day with the trans clinic in Belleville, back when our late mother Curvin was still alive. They really wanted to make an impact into the community, and that just like trickled onto all of us. Even just outside of our ballroom community, I think we, and by we, I don't want to say everyone, but I'm going to speak for
Yeah.
me. Like I always had the idea that every piece of information I learn, every piece of information I learn as a dancer, when I get to do something big, I don't just walk around knowing I did that. I can walk around teaching the next kids, like, this is what I did, this is how I did that. It might not be the same for you because obviously now social media has blown up big time. Things like TikTok is where people get to like do the things. So that is great, but also have a background and understanding that if you go into the industry, people take advantage of you. People will take advantage of you in all ways. And when you are a queer man of color, sexual advances come at you like it's no one's business. And I don't think we speak about that in the community often enough. Um, it's the industry is amazing, but it has horrible underlying things that happen, and the problem is we don't speak about it because we're afraid we're gonna not get this job. And it's a major problem, but that's why when I speak about ballroom and when I speak about housing and when I speak about families, it is that we can educate men. Like we can speak about all those things past rumors. Like you have people who, like I said, maybe we cannot relate to you right now on that specific moment, but we've all shared experiences where at one point or another they cross over, and we can share stories, and sharing stories is one of queer people's biggest superpowers. Like that is how we've continued to grow, continue to thrive after all the bullshit that I think like our ancestors, and now our ancestors being POCs and queer, like it's a never ending shitstorm. So for us to get here, to be here, to continuously do those things, like love people's legacies and love our own legacies, it's a mooi thing, man. So that to me is like why I'm like I fight for equality and all those things as hard as I do. Yeah.
Beautiful. And yeah, I asked you this before the interview, and I think there's a misunderstanding of the term pansexual.
Very much.
I was hoping you could enlighten or inform the audience. What is the actual difference between pansexuality and bisexuality, or you know?
So I do not have relationships with pens. Let's just get that out there, because, and I know it's a joke, but I'm also like, hi, like be creative, man. So when I started finding myself and my sexual journey and my journey with my queerness, um, and I think a lot of queer kids, especially boys, have this thing where it's like, I need to blow it to people in the softest way possible. And I'm not saying bisexual people do not exist. They exist. I'm pansexual. They could say the same thing for me. But a lot of queer men, because of trauma, we need to hit people with the softest blow. And bisexuality is always just like, oh, no, I'm bi. Because then straight people have this idea, oh no, but you're still like, you can be straight. Like, you know, like it's not too long. It's not too deep for you. Like you can come out of that. Yeah, it's not too late. And it's like, sexuality is so fluid. How are we going to sit here and box it? And unfortunately, like this conversation I have with like my queer friends all the time, it's like being straight and being straight, I don't just equate it to being like sleeping with the opposite gender. I mean having that mindset also that sexuality is one specific thing is such a patriarchal thing, and it's been indoctrinated into our people to think that you must be this. If you are not this, you are not normal. So queer people walking out, we are already a walking flag. Like we are, like if we get to live our life the way we do, people sit there and think, how dare you do that when society is literally showing you this is who you must be. So I fought tooth and nail. I was like, no, I'm probably bisexual. Ek was bisexual. I was like, mommy, I'm bisexual. And then I started hanging out with a lot more effeminate people, and I started coming to terms with my femininity, and it was the most beautiful thing for me, especially where I grew up, like where femininity was not, it was frowned upon.
Couldn't survive.
Yes. I had to hide a lot of who I was growing up. Not because I wasn't comfortable, but if I wanted to survive, I needed to do that. So when I got to express my femininity, I got to tap into those parts, it finally ticked in my head, and I sat and I realized, yo, I have masculine energy to me and I have feminine energy to me, and it's the most beautiful thing to tap into all of that. And when I also realized that, I got exposed to more people. So a lot of my friend groups are trans women or trans men. A lot of them are trans non-binary. I have non-binary people within my circle. And I always say my friends are beautiful. If I want to kiss my friend, they are beautiful. I'm going to kiss them. And whether they are trans, non-binary, I found that I am attracted to someone's being, who they are. I'm attracted to energy. I'm not attracted to genitalia. I am not attracted to how someone identifies, whether they identify as a man or as a woman. That is secondary to me. That is society expecting you to be a specific thing. If I fall in love with someone, I can't for the life of me think that I'm going to fall in love with someone because they have a vagina or because they have a penis. Like, and that to me is the purest, biggest definition of what pansexuality is and why it's different to bisexuality. Bisexuality is being attracted to the gender norm of man and woman. Pansexuality is not that, because pansexuality acknowledges that there are non-binary people, that there are asexual people, that there are trans people. That is what pansexuality acknowledges, and I can love whoever I want to. And bisexuality doesn't leave room for that, because a lot of bisexual people do say, well, I'm not attracted to a trans man or a trans woman, and it's like, not to tell bisexual people what and how to be attracted to people, but bisexuality still has a lot of gender norms within itself, and it's like, it is a thing. If you are bisexual, it is a thing. Like, no one can take that away from you. But we must also sit back and understand why certain things work the way they do and why we feel the way we do with certain things. It's because society was put into a manner where, like masculinity is and not just masculinity, but like being a man is top, and then being a woman, you are expected to be to serve the man. And I think a lot of what religion specifically also does is perpetuates that
Yes.
toxic culture, um, where woman and femininity, which is why I think the church and just men in general, which is why we have that big struggle on the internet now where men are saying, oh, women have changed, like women don't want, and it's like, no baby, women have finally been led to now hold power within who they are. And it seems like those things and sexuality doesn't cross, but it crosses all the damn time. When we can look at the fact that, as a gay man, oh, I'm not attracted to a woman, and then around the back of your mind, you're making fun of women's genitalia. It's like, you need to be more conscious of and aware of how things affect women, because you are constantly tapping into your femininity and you're being made fun of that, and that's what women have to go through every single day. It's them just being who they are and then being ridiculed for that. So queer people, when it comes to these things, and I can babble for years, but it's like, I want queer people to be able to understand, like, we are put in a position where our whole life is protest. Every day we walk out of the house is protest. Every day we are who we are. It's a sign to people of screw you, like I'm doing who I am. None of us sign up for this, but ultimately this is what we get to do. And at the same time, womanhood and women, we share that with women because society has made it that we have that thing, and I think that's why queer people and women kind of just connect. So yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Good
I
luck
think it
editing that.
answers everything, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I have everything now, but if you want to end off on anything, any advice or anything that you just want to get off your chest.
Queer people, I think I speak to queer men a lot. I know that like our community is still small, our community is still really trying to battle with a lot of things. Poverty is also like, it hits us hard as South Africans. Load shedding proves that every day. There are other queer people you're going to meet who are not like you, who are bigger than you, who are smaller than you, who are darker than you, who are lighter skinned than you, but more so than not, who go through life differently because of things like HIV. I don't think we speak about that enough.
Yes.
Our community is heavily still affected by HIV, and because our government says, well, just slap a condom on it, or now PrEP is available, there is not education on it. And when I see young people constantly sitting and having to find out that I am
Afterwards.
HIV positive, but there have been medications put in place, there are things, but the thing is, we don't have access to it. Like if you are not openly queer and you have queer friends who have done these things, your access to it is this. Is this because your mom and dad don't know PrEP? Your mom and God, they don't even accept you. How are they going to have conversations about healthy sexual relations with you as a queer person? So, queer people, the reason I bring that up is educate yourself. Educate yourself, because we as a community already get ostracized for being queer, and now we have this thing held over our heads, which is HIV. It's like, oh, if you are gay, you're gonna get HIV. It's like, no, that is not the end all and be all of being queer. There are people out here who educate you, and I feel like I'm gonna stab myself in the foot now with this, but I am lucky to have a big platform on TikTok, and a lot of my content is solely aimed at like bringing happiness. But there are moments where I speak about hard truths, honest truths. And I know TikTok doesn't love that. TikTok doesn't love when people speak about things that need to be spoken about. And many people on my TikTok also fight me because of that, because it's like, you must stick to one thing. You must make us happy. You can't speak about real problems. And I've seen a dip in my interactions, or like with my videos, where it's like I'm speaking about issues, queer issues, and now it's like I'm not getting the same views. But it's fine. I will speak about it as much as I have to, because we must educate each other, man. And when it comes to issues like HIV and just sexual health in general, be open to things, and be open to have those tough conversations, because I'm sick and tired of having to speak to someone and them being afraid of disclosing their status. It's a personal thing, but them being afraid of disclosing their status, not because straight people are gonna frown down upon them, but because queer people do that. But because we have to fight for our right to just be ourselves every single day, so that when we see another queer person, then it's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring you down now
Yeah.
because I've been brought down, and it's a toxic cycle that we must cut that shit out, man. Like, we are community, we are community, and I know a lot of queer people don't feel like there's community, but come to me. Like, if you ever feel like you just want to speak to someone and you don't know who to speak to me anonymously. Send me a message. I think my friends call me Mother Teresa by now, because I also just think it's probably just because people relate to me a bit more, where they feel like I'm from Elsie's. Like, look at where you are from, look at who you are, you get to be who you are, and you come from where you come from. And you still do that irrespective of the expectations set upon me. So I tell people, if you have questions, speak to a queer person. And if you feel like you can't speak to a queer person, there are people within our community. Follow our house page at House of Look Up. There are places like gender dynamics. There are places like the Pride Shelter, which do offer services. But if all else fails, hit up your favorite influencer. Ons ook maar net mens. And I must say, like, people getting to share their stories with me have also like been a big highlight to me within my platform, because I don't just want my platform to be you seeing me on TikTok or you seeing me on a post or you seeing me this. I want you to feel like, you know what, I see you. I also feel like I want to take a chance and be like, hey, I just want to message you and find out, like, would you be able to just like give me some information on this, that, and that. And then if I don't make a TikTok about it, I might message you privately. I don't also think everything needs to be blurted out into the open. Like, sometimes those conversations need to be private. So ultimately, don't be afraid to hit up people. Ask for help. If you don't know, now you know. Nigga. But yeah, ask for help, and we as a community, like, we are here for queer people, we are here for each other. Also, not just queer people. If you are a straight person and you feel like you want to express sides of you that you don't feel comfortable enough expressing in the heteronormative community, come to a gay bar, come to the balls. The balls aren't just for gay people. It's an art form. It's for people to come and explore their artistic side. So come to the balls, come to the clubs, come to the events we have. Like the Pride and Pride Mardi Gras. I know people think it's a party. It's not just a party anymore. When I have to have conversations with people and tell people about a fight that I had to break up because this man found out that this girl was trans, and he felt like, oh, how could you be? It's like, that is why we have Pride Mardi Gras. That is why we have the march. Like now, that is ultimately the big thing is, as Cape Town, we are lucky. We're still not privileged when it comes to queer acceptance. There's still a lot of people being attacked. There's still a lot of people getting hurt. There's people being put out by their families. Those things should not be happening. This is why we have Pride. So if you see people walking around in a thong at Pride, that is because they don't get to do that. You are so suppressed within your queerness that when you get that one moment to express it, Pride is that moment, and that's where you just you dive into the deep end, and there's a bunch of people who, for the most part, love and cherish everyone and want to share this with them. So come to Pride, get in touch with the events, and now go with the over the Pride month. There's a lot of things happening. Check out the Pride schedule. There's a lot of things happening that they are posting. Come to the events. Like, I don't think I can push that more than what I am now. Come to the events. Like, if you feel like, oh, I'm alone, come to the events. Paraat met iedereen. There's someone that's gonna sit there that's probably also thinking they're alone, and you might make a friend. Just come to the event. Support queer events. Go to Zero. Support your local drag queens. Support your local queer art, because we need it, and we don't want to continuously make art and having to fight tooth and nail just for scraps and just to get by. So support your queer artistry, so that, you know what, like, there's history for the next person to come back to and see, oh, but TUP is there and this is that and we can like there's just rich history, especially from the Cape Flats. Julle nou weet jy nog man, the Cape Flats has queer history the house down. We have so much rich queer history to tap into, and you have to come to the events to be able to experience that. Yeah.
Berlin, I believe we are out of time, and I'd like to thank you really once again. I appreciate giving your time on a Sunday.
No, thank you.
And sharing your story with us and informing the social media platforms about certain things that needs to be known. So once again, thanks for that.
Thank you guys, and also thank you for asking me. Sometimes even I forget like anything you do, it has an impact, and when people ask me to do anything, doesn't matter what I end up doing, I'm always going to be privileged, and I'm going to feel happy when my people also just acknowledge and put back into people who do plow stuff into the community. So thank you guys, and thank you for coming to LC's. You are braver than most.
No, for me it's like I'm not per se queer, but I'm very much into like accepting people as human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like you was saying when you were talking about pansexuality, I didn't have a proper understanding of it. Now I do, so thank you for that. But I think that is what the world needs to move towards. It's not about your sexuality or what your preferences are. It's about what this human being has to give.
Yes.
So I'm very much for that. And
no, I love
thank
that.
you for having us again.
And also, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Calm down, Becky. It's not about you. Someone's life is theirs to live.
Yes.
And if you have to keep anything, it's the saying. So there was the saying that I heard through Drag Race, and it has stuck with me forever. So there was this one girl, Trinity K. Bonet, and they were talking about like her run on like Drag Race and all of that. And then RuPaul asked her, how do you deal with the bullshit? And she said, this is my life, and I'm gonna live my life the way I want to, and no one is ever gonna tell me what to do. And that was such a powerful thing to me, because I took it in the sense of like, sure, like people can have their opinions about me, which by the way, their opinions of me is not my business, but people like to make their opinion your business, and it's like, you can have that. And I'm going to sit there and I can let it affect me and I can go, woe is me. But ultimately, I'm going to get up and I'm going to live my life. And that is the important thing. Mine. Mine. Mionani. So, yeah. Be happy and be you. Because no one else can do you. And people who say otherwise are just mad because you look fabulous. And they are not that.
I think that's a cut.
That's it.